back into the podcast studio as a guest. So my first question, you've been director at DG Reform since the start of the TSI. Over the past 4 to 5 years, the reforms that have happened and the successes have been many. Why do we still need more reforms?
Naomi, I'm delighted that finally we get the chance to talk to each other today. And it's a very, very good question. I'm really delighted to be here explaining a bit more about the annual cycle of the TSI. So we are looking already at the TSI 2025. We hardly finished the selection for TSI 2024, and we are already looking into the future. Yeah, exactly. So why do reforms still matter? I think we have heard plenty of examples today on why they matter and why there are always new challenges. There is the new geopolitical context, there is a gap of competitiveness, there is the green, digital, some people say even demographic, so the triple transition processes that are happening. So all of these require member states to react. But I also wanted to say that the TSI, or actually the SRSP, was born out of a crisis response, and reforms were a response to crisis situation. And now we are moving, or we have moved with the TSI to another situation which sort of normalized reforms. Reforms is just a part of life, and they are going to stay because they are very much needed, and whatever the future brings, we will have to go with it.
Yeah. Now, for those in the audience who might not have worked with the TSI yet, can you maybe talk us through the basics? How does it work?
Okay, so basically the TSI is the Commission's main instrument to support reforms. It's given to the member states on their demand. It's adapted to their particular needs, so these projects are always tailor-made. And we are very proud to provide always the best expertise that Europe has that we can offer to you. And when I say you, I mean member state beneficiaries of the ministries, agencies, authorities, but also, of course, regional and local governments. They are also our beneficiaries. It is demand-driven. It is not about us telling you what to do. We try to a little bit, but really the character of the instrument is demand-driven. We respond to your reform agenda, and it's very, very easy for the beneficiaries. I think it was said in the morning that one of the big advantages of working with us is that you don't need to work on a lot of administrative procedures. You can really focus on what matters to you, is to arrive from the vision that you have for your reform to actually this happening on the ground. So basically, this is what I wanted to say, and we are having a new motto, which is no policy without support, because the TSI is needed really across the board in all policy areas.
Great, thank you. Now, we've been hearing throughout the day about the impact, about the success stories. Could you maybe give us some of the key figures from the past year?
Okay, so we have adopted the TSI regulation 4 years ago. And this was a clear sign that the EU wanted to do more to help the member states in achieving their reform agenda. Since then, all 27 member states have been benefiting from the TSI support, and including the SRSP, we have more than 1,800 ongoing or closed projects. So we already have a huge number, a huge stock of projects. Now, a few words about TSI 2024, which is still kind of the open cycle, because we are still ahead of the contracting. But we are very excited about these new projects. We have 170 new projects that will lead to 370 reforms across the EU in a wide range of policy areas. A third of the projects focuses on the European Green Deal objectives, net zero economy, the Green Deal industrial plan, biodiversity, climate change adaptation, and so on. About a quarter of the projects relate to the digital transition and digital-related innovation, including the use of AI in public administration, for example, in welfare, employment, migration management, and even in gender equality. And roughly a third of our projects still have this very strong link with the RRF implementation in the member states. And of course, a big part of our projects focusing on improving public administration and governance. A few numbers on multi-countries. We have in this period, in the TSI 24, we have selected 43 multi-country projects leading to 185 reforms, so you can multiply. This is actually one of the reasons why we are doing them. And we are very proud of this because 2-3 years ago we had only 1 or 2 multi-country projects, and now with all the efforts and with the buy-in, of course, from the member states, we managed to grow it to a significant level. And a few examples of multi-country projects. PACE was already mentioned several times today. This is one of our flagships and multi-country projects, where we had more than 200 civil servants from 15 member states who have already participated from these exchanges. In another area, 4 member states will work together to identify subsidies that are harmful to the environment and to biodiversity. Or 3 member states will support municipalities to improve access to quality services for children and caregivers with refugee and migrant background. Also, very importantly, we have 38 projects with a regional or local dimension that will strengthen cohesion in EU territories and in the communities. So let me mention, for example, the work done so far to support young people's mental health in the regions of Italy, Portugal, and Spain. So as you can see, the impact and the scope of projects is really broad, and we are very happy and proud that we became a trusted partner of member states in this agenda.
Yeah, you can rightly be proud of all of that. Looking ahead then to TSI 2025, what will be the main features? What can we expect?
So we are not planning a revolution. We are building on the features of the TSI that we have developed in the previous years. For which we got very positive feedback also from the member states. We continue with the concept of flagships. I will not go into it because tomorrow the whole morning is dedicated to the 15 flagships. We will continue supporting the implementation of the recovery and resilience plans. We will support the collaboration between member states in the shape of multi-country and multi-regional projects that can bring reforms to the ground simultaneously in several member states, and that give also the opportunity for mutual learning and exchanges. And we would like to strengthen more the regional aspect of our support. And we continue something that Mario just said before on the regarding enlargement. We are also continuing to put on the ground a pilot which allows enlargement countries to participate as observers in multi-country TSI projects.
Great, thank you. And you've mentioned again the multi-country projects. We've heard a lot about the value of those. Does that mean, should they all be multi-country projects then in that case?
This is not necessarily the idea, because there are a lot of reforms that are very specific to a member state or that are closer to implementation of something that they have already planned, but we really bet strongly on multi-country projects. So we would like to see a strong lineup of multi-country projects, because they work very well when the member states face similar challenges. They are in a bit similar phase of the thinking, of creating their vision, and that they can react also together. And this brings a lot of added value, because they are able to learn from each other, not only from the provider. So this is why I believe that these projects are becoming popular. And also when member states are working together, there is a strong element of trust, not only between us and the member states, but also between the member states. And they create networks among themselves between the peers, so they can easily call up each other. I have this issue, what do you know? So it goes beyond the formality or the formal framework of the project. Now, I also wanted to come to 2 issues that we hear sometimes as a worry about multi-country projects. One is that maybe because multi-country projects are more complex, maybe they take longer to put on the ground. And I wanted to actually reassure everybody that this is not the case. All the projects of the TSI are advancing very, very fast, and multi-countries as fast as any other project. And the other issue that sometimes comes up, whether we manage to keep the tailor-made approach of the TSI when we put in place multi-country projects. And again, I want to reassure everybody that the projects are always tailor-made, and we always come to your needs when you request it. You have to request what you exactly need. But we are able to construct very interesting multi-country projects with a common chapeau, a common element, and then different pieces addressing the